The Bolts of Pain podcast, an English take on a colonial endeavour. Men in pads and tight clothing and lots of adverts. You'll find none of that nonsense here. Just resentment, bitterness, and a permanent sense of what could have been if only we had given the chaps cricket.
Welcome back, Bolters. Week 4 of the 2025 season is done and dusted. Some good things, some bad things, but let's just talk not about NFL quickly. What's up with the Ryder Cup in the American crowds, man? Jesus. In the UK and in Europe, there's this general impression that Americans are sort of insular and boorish and sort of unpleasant. It's all part of this anti-Trump thing. And my experience of Americans is absolutely the opposite. They are not that at all. They are welcoming, inquisitive, kind people. But if you just judge the Americans by the Ryder Cup, you'd think, what a bunch of unpleasant morons. America, better. That's not good enough. And this is not a Trump thing. The Ryder Cup behaviour in America of the crowds has been getting worse and worse for sort of 2 decades. And you let yourselves down. And who am I to judge? I let myself down all the time. It's part of my trait. So, recap of what happened in the NFL in Week 4. Way back when, on Thursday Night Football, Jonathan Gannon, you got to go for the 2 points at the end. Come on, your season's in the balance. You're kind of limping through life in a very strong NFC West, and you didn't go for the 2-point conversion at the end, and you lost. You lost by a field goal. Initially, the Irish game, I felt pity for the Irish. It was a bit of a snooze fest, wasn't it? The Vikings versus the Steelers. And then it came alive at the end. But no matter how good a coach Kevin O'Connell is, and he is a very good coach, he's not Carson Wentz good enough. You just cannot coach that guy up enough. And they didn't pull through, mainly because Carson Wentz was their quarterback, they being the Vikings. The Bucks somehow got to 3-0 by winning games they shouldn't really win, but their luck ran out against the Eagles. Really good game. Still love Baker Mayfield, but you can't keep on winning like that, as we'll come to with the Chargers shortly. Joe Flacco, Jesus, he looks like a crippled Phillip Rivers now, doesn't he? He's never been that mobile, but such a statue. He did a rollout in the third quarter of their game against the Lions for Cleveland, and it looked like it was in slow motion. It really is now a static quarterback. Drake May for New England continues to progress. Looks like the real deal. I think they've got a good one there. Adonai Mitchell for the Colts made a superb catch against the Rams and then ran up the field and, holding the ball out, managed to bobble it before breaking the end zone plane. It happens now and again, but it still does look terrible when you see it happen in real time. The 40-all tie between the Packers and the Cowboys, the late night Sunday night game. I mean, there was no defense play by either team. So much for Micah Parsons elevating the Packers. Their defense has gone backwards, and the Cowboys' defense is trying to recover from losing Micah Parsons. Whatever you think about Jerry Jones, he does put out a compelling product. I mean, the guy would have been sacked about 10 times at any other club as a general manager. The guy lucked out in 1989. Lucked out. Okay, that's not fair. They chose Jimmy Johnson as his coach, and I think at the time actually de facto GM was Jimmy Johnson. I'm sure he had a massive input into the draft that took place then, which picked up all those great players. But that was really Jerry Jones's one thing, and he's been trading off that, as we all know, ever since. And just a bit of a car crash of a franchise, but still we're drawn to the Cowboys, and the 40-all tie. Ties aren't ideal, are they? But it was a great game. And for the Las Vagrants, Ashton Genty looks like the real deal. It looks like we've got a new running back to fear in the AFC West. Geno Smith, who I like, is another redemption story. We all like redemption stories, but he is struggling for the Vagrants, and no matter how good your running back is, you can't win games if your quarterback is throwing I think it was 3 interceptions in their loss. The Jets, again, the defense was supposed to be their strength, and they just can't tackle. if you want to reboot your season, play the Jets, who I think are now 0-4. Poor Dan Hansus. We think we suffer as Chargers fans, but Jesus, Jets fans, and Dan Hansus. And if you don't listen to Heed the Call, listen to it. It's my favourite NFL podcast. Yes, they miss Greg Rosenthal, and obviously they miss the late Chris Wessling. But Heed the Call is still the best of the bunch, in my opinion. But the Jets losing to the Dolphins. The Dolphins Stadium. Can we talk about this? The stadiums are just half full. And no, maybe it is a thing. Maybe people are talking about it, but it seems to be the elephant in the room that the Miami Dolphins Stadium is not a good look when you have these half-empty, massive stadiums that are half-empty. And also, still in the end zone, you've got this slogan, "It takes all of us." What is this bullshit? Is this a BLM thing hanging over from that period? It takes all of us. What does that even mean? Meaningless gumph. Right, closing out the recap of the teams that aren't called the LA Chargers. The Chiefs are Chiefs looking. I tell you what, Patrick Mahomes looked really, really good. They beat up the Ravens. It looks like they're getting their offensive weapons lined up and firing, and which is not good news for the Bolts. And further, not good news for the Bolts is that Bo Nix looked good in the Broncos thrashing the Bungles. And of course, J.K. Dobbins got 101 yards on just 16 carries for the Broncos. Why would he not? Now he's not wearing a Chargers uniform. And all of that is bad news. The Chiefs looking good, the Broncos looking good, because suddenly the Chargers don't look very good at all. So let's recap the Week 4 loss to the Giants in the Meadowlands. Wow. First of all, the uniforms, my least favourite uniform, the all-white. It's very clean looking. But the trouble is with the all whites is you lose the definition of the lightning bolt on the helmet. Well, not so much on the helmet, but certainly on the leggings, because you've got the white, and then the lightning bolt is outlined by the powder blue, and it just doesn't. The powder blue on the white isn't definitive enough. What they need to do is have the outline of the bolt in either the royal blue or the navy blue. Now I know that'll bugger up their branding, but that's my feedback to the guys who do the uniforms for the Chargers, and I'm sure they listen to this podcast. So please bear that in mind. We want to see a more defined bolt on the white leggings. Okay, what a shit show of a game, really. Joe Alt goes out with a high ankle sprain in the first quarter, so he's likely to miss a few games now, which is great on the back of Rashawn Slater already being out. And who knows if he'll ever come back as the same player with his injury. Then we had the tipped interception run back by Dexter Lawrence. This is all in the first quarter. There was in the game a beautiful 36-yard toss from Justin Herbert to Quentin Johnson. But apart from that, the only thing shining on the offense was Marion Hampton, who looks like the real deal to go with Ashton Genty. The AFC West has two rookie running backs emerging, and he had that great touchdown run, just really powerful, low to the ground runner. But here's the big but. This is the problem with this game against the Giants. He had 12 touches. 12 touches. Justin Herbert was getting the shit knocked out of him. And we give Marion Hampton just 12 touches. When we needed to go full Greg Roman, what we got was Ernie Zampese. And Herbert putting the ball up in the air way too much of him behind a totally decimated defensive line. I mean, Deculus at left tackle. Jesus Christ. He is slow and cumbersome. I thought the defence played really well, actually, with one glaring problem. But I thought it played really well because it was put on the field an awful lot in difficult positions on the field, thanks to Chargers turnovers. But they just did not scout Jackson Dart at all well. How many runs did he have up the interior? It just seemed like there was acres, fields, prairies of open space in front of Jackson Dart time and time again. Now, you can forgive that on the first few plays of the game because he's a rookie quarterback. No one's seen him before. But, Jesse Minter, you're supposed to be this defensive whiz. Adapt your scheme. It didn't happen. Jackson Dart kept on running throughout the game. He barely passed, really. I think he just scraped over 100 yards passing. So it was not a good game for our coordinators. Greg Roman, we needed to run the ball. This is the one game where you could have gone full Greg Roman and no one would have said, oh, this is 1970s football. We wanted 1970s football. We didn't get it. And the defence just did not adapt to the legs of Jackson Dart. So that was unfortunate. Then we had so many penalties. Lad McConkey had a bad game, dropping passes, which is so unlike him. He's our reliable slot receiver, easy for you to say. Just didn't get it done. I don't know. There was something off about the whole thing. The team just looked off and not prepared, which is very unlike Jim Harbaugh, and hopefully that doesn't happen again. And I can't believe it will happen again because he's such a good coach normally, but they just looked off. And it can't happen again because our next opponents are the Commanders. Now, if Marcus Mariota is quarterbacking, we can probably manage that. But if it's Jaden Daniels, we could be in a lot of trouble because he's another great running quarterback. And if we defend against him as we did Jackson Dart, then we're going to be in trouble. We're 3-point favourites, which apparently gives us a projected win probability of 60 to 65%, which I think was what we had against the Giants, and we managed to screw that up. So, sod the predictions. The good thing is that for this next game, we're going to see the all powder blue uniforms, which is a first. Powder blue top, powder blue leggings, and that's going to be a look. Let's see how that pans out. I think they did use it in the pre-season or the Hall of Fame game against the Lions, but this is the first time in a regular season game we're going to see the Chargers, our beloved Chargers, in their all powder blue. So, listen, another really good week of football in the NFL, and our first loss. We're 3-1. It's not the end of the earth, but it's concerning. The offensive line is just not functioning, and the Chiefs and the Broncos are waking up. And 3-1 can become 3-2, and all of a sudden those two other teams will be breathing down our neck. Oh God, lightning, strike me down.
The Bolts of Pain podcast is available in all good gentlemen's clubs. Ask upon entry. Discretion assured.